Let's talk about Lattice. First of all, I had the chance to, go see Jim Anderson and his son this week. And so I tweeted something along the lines that said, just because you had great earnings doesn't mean you have to be so humble. But they are really some of the salt of the earth, just best people. And I guess, when you're only, doing a few bill or, you're in the billions and not in the hundreds of billions, maybe you stay humble till you get there. But I also just say they do great earnings slides. I really do appreciate that about companies that put together very consolidated and valuable slides. We'll share the link in my Lattice piece, but let's just talk about the highlights, Pat.
Oh, hey Daniel, though, hey Dan, what makes a good slide deck for earnings? Just for our listeners.
Oh, well, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's call outs on the most important data points and comparative data in terms of making it very clear. So like on the left side of their slide, the three things that people care about, they have what's called their highlights: revenue, margin, EPS. They have those data very clear, and then a very clear indicator of how it compared on a year-over-year basis. It sounds crazy, but I can't tell you how many times I'm reading these reports, and it's like you got to it's like brain damage to find this stuff. It's easy. The other thing I really like that they do is they break out their different segments, and then they have a couple of very clear highlights. So if you had to, it's the cliff notes, right? If this is all you looked at, you could get a really good assessment of what is going on in the business. Revenue growth, margin growth, EPS growth, huge numbers, 31% year on revenue, 69% margin. They expanded their margin by almost 600 bips, almost 6% margin expansion, which is just absolutely terrific. The street has to love it. Now, funny is they got a great gain afterwards and then gave all the gains back because this market sucks. But in the long run, you got to look at the company, and the company's expanding and its earnings per share up 71% on a year-on-year basis. And Pat, here's what I really love about Lattice and why I called them out in my Market Watch piece this week. 6% of their business is exposed to consumer. That's it, just 6. So they've they're kind of got that Marvell-esque story going on where they've done an incredibly good job of finding value in the data center, in the IoT segment, in automotive, and this has led to strong growth. Their industrial automotive growth at 45%, sequential 15%, their comms and computing at 26%. And of course, their consumer did fall 13%, but it was such a small part of their business that it really didn't have much impact on the company. And Pat, I'll just try to leave a little oxygen in the room. We're going to be out at their event in December talking about their next product line launch, but they're still really just getting ramped from their last product line launch. So this is early days when you're at the size that they're at, okay? And like I said, they're tracing more towards $1 billion in revenue. A bad economy doesn't break you. In fact, the companies that perform well and gain market share and execute, and it seems that in this area, this low to mid market of FPGAs, Lattice is the game right now, and they're doing an incredibly good job. It's hard to not give them credit. So kudos to Jim and Assam and the team.
Wow, I'm fighting for air here. Now, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about their different segments. And like you do math and have an Excel spreadsheet, so when something is 50% of the mix and it grew 45%, you're going to have a good quarter. And that's exactly what the company did in industrial and automotive, and a lot of ADAS and dashboard, which is really cool. And this is an area where I don't think we have caught up in chips in automotive. And also on the call, Jim had talked about automation and robotics. So 4 big areas inside of that, industrial and automotive. And it's also funny that, hey, if you've never been in the PC market, or if you're expanding your presence in the PC market, you can still drive growth in that market. And comms and computing, the company did just that. They had new PC designs where, for instance, in this new Lenovo notebook I have, there's an FPGA that essentially intelligently knows to tell me when somebody's looking over my shoulder, okay? And they work with, they bought a company called Mirametrics. And that's really just the start. Also, they're part of the 5G build out in on the edge. And who doesn't love that? Their content doubled from 4G to 5G, which is a good thing. And finally, data center servers, more servers, where essentially they're a security chip that's the first boot that enables the highest level of security. And yep, consumer, 6% of the mix, down 13%. So what? Market sucks. Let's move on. So, Dan, I am super excited to go out there for this Avant launch. And you're right, it's just the beginning. Avant doubles their SAM, right? Their addressable market, and they get right into the territory of Intel FPGAs and AMD FPGAs. And both of those companies are really looking at FPGA capabilities at the highest power SoCs. That is not what Avant is doing. Okay. Now, you might say you could have a super high performance SoC and you have more power for the CPU because Avant is lower power. But, anyways, you get the point. But tune in to the 6.5 at the Avant launch event coming up. It's on Monday, December 5th. The videos might be out on that day. They might be a day after, but tune in to our tweets. Did I just do a promotion here?
Yeah, but that's pretty common for you.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.